In today's session, I want to give you the greatest transformation breakthrough that I ever had in my life. And this powerful thing that has literally helped me really stay tuned and manifest things so much faster. It's just mind-boggling how it works. So I'm so excited to share it with you. So one thing that I started noticing in my life was that there were some certain points in my life when I went all in, even when nothing was working, right? Or even when I felt like whatever I was doing, it all came crashing down. That feeling when you're like, oh my God, none of that is working. I'm totally going in the opposite direction. It's all finishing. I can see everything finishing. Where on earth I'm going? And that's when I had no choice. I literally felt like I'm hitting rock bottom. I had no other choice but to look up. I had no choice but to give that situation a different meaning, because if I let it finish, then where do I go from zero? I cannot go anywhere from zero. So I had to tune into something bigger, something greater, higher frequency, giving it a different meaning. So a point in my life when I was quite little, I think I was 9 years old, and I still remember, like, there was such a huge fight in our house on money and other things, and a lot of emotional trauma, that I was unconscious in my mother's lap. And my mother thought for a minute that she has lost me, I'm gone. Like, I was literally unconscious. And I remember that time when there was this something bigger than me which said to me, if it's this bad, why are you not rising? Why are you still in this? And internally, mentally, it felt like I was teleported to a different place. I literally manifested. It started with a flash in my mind, like electric current, where I saw living in a different country, living in London as a child. Why London? Because I haven't even heard the name of other cities. Literally, that's why. Like, that was the only reason, because I didn't know about a lot of other countries and cities. And not too long ago, I got the citizenship for UK, and it was such a crazy moment for me, remembering that point when there is nothing else to lose, when you're like, I'm already down, like, where do I go from here? And then I remember, like, when I used to run my business through like discovery calls and having calls, and then if people feel aligned, they would say yes to working with me, and that's how everything happened. And then the first time my daughter went to the hospital, and she stayed there for months, and I was like, my business is packing up, I can't do anything anymore. Like, the only way I could do it was through discovery calls, and now I can't do it in the hospital. And at that point, I had nothing else but to believe in something bigger, because it was finishing, right? But what I realized is that I always did that when I hit almost like rock bottom, when it's like there is no hope, I have to do it. Hi, Sobia, so lovely to see you. But what I realized was, what if I do it every single time instead of waiting to hit the rock bottom or waiting to hit the lowest point? What if I use this tool every single day? And I started playing with it, and that is the biggest breakthrough I had. So the way I see it is that you are constantly holding in your hands a golden thread of your manifestation. Wherever you are going, you're holding that thread, and it's very subtly, very beautifully, in a beautiful divine rhythm, pulling you towards the manifestation. It's natural. Like, we were little babies and we became like adults. The way our skin grew, it's so natural. It didn't stretch. It didn't like overly stretched or broke apart. It just naturally we grew in. We didn't have to force it. We didn't have to make it happen. It just naturally happened. That's how we have a golden string in our hand, which is just naturally pulling us towards a manifestation. But then what we do is, anytime anything happened which according to us, so I'm really focusing on according to us, which is against where we are going, we say, look, it's not working. What am I doing wrong? What is wrong with me? I'm a failure. I am this. Let me find a new tool. All of a sudden, we let that string go. We let go of it. And in what we then do is we have to again almost start from the scratch, because the string is gone. Now we are finding another string. Where is the string? What can I hold on to? Let me think positive thoughts. Let me build that frequency again. Let me go there. But what I realized is that instead of me doing at my lowest points, what if I just do this tool every time? So, what if I reframe every single situation every time when I feel like I'm going in the other direction? So, instead of fueling the negative, I ask myself this question: what meaning do I want to give it to this situation? And this is really powerful. Even it doesn't even require you to switch your negative thoughts, because what you're doing is, let's say in my situation, when my daughter was ill, it felt like I cannot now run my business because I'm staying in the hospital for months, right? I reframed it and said, this is going to be the biggest enabler of my business growth and explosion. Do I have any idea how? No. But this thought is gonna serve me. So if you have this huge box, like a treasure box of meaning, belief, would you like to choose this is gonna stop everything, or would you like to choose this is gonna create even better? This is gonna explode everything. This is gonna be the biggest thing that ever happened to me. One day I'm gonna be on stage and telling about this. One day I'm gonna start a movement on this. This is the reason why everything will work for me. So I want to share another example. When I started with manifestation, I was like, if I would meet anybody on the road, I would tell them about manifestation. Like, have you heard? This is so good. You can manifest whatever you want. This is the greatest thing on the planet. But what I realized was that it wasn't even working for me. And I kept trying to manifest, think positive thoughts, forcing myself to believe. And what I realized was that my biggest pain was identity and self-concept, because I wasn't changing me. I was just trying to force everything, work a lot harder, set the goals and try to make them happen and feel I'm manifesting, trying to force myself to think positive. And when I went through that pain, I started a movement on self-concept and identity. I was like, it's all identity. Everything is identity. Even now, if you see any of my message, any of my videos, anything, it's all identity, because that was my biggest pain. So every time you go through anything bad in your life, what if that is the greatest thing that could ever happen to you? It doesn't feel like it, but what if you give it that meaning? Now, the problem is, why don't we want to do that? So why is it that this thing is not second nature to us? Why is it that we don't always do that? And I thought about that. I was like, why is it that we want to just pull back and we want to say, you know what, it's not working. I'm going crazy. What shall I do? The reason being is because if we do that, we'll go all in and we'll actually see, you know what, let me see what actually I'm a match for. But the outside is telling me it's not working, so there could be a chance it's not working. But what we are really scared of is disappointment. Because if I go all in, if I still believe, if I still reframe everything, if people still say you are the most illogical, crazy, insane person on the planet, but I still go all in because I know that's how it works. But what if I get disappointed? And the reason people pull back is because of disappointment. Is because, let's say you're going on a date and you're a bit skeptical. You're like, I don't know if the person is going to turn up. What if they don't turn up and I get so embarrassed and, it's a joke. The whole world makes fun of me that I was so excited to go on a date. And then you find out that there is a transportation strike, or transportation is not working in the whole city. And now you're saying, I know that person is not going to come. So I'm not going to go, because if I go, then I look stupid. So I'm not going to go on the date, because if I go and that person doesn't show up, I'm going to look stupid. So I'm not going to go on the date. So that's what we are doing with our manifestation. I don't want to look stupid. So the reason is not that we don't want to, it's like, do you want to go till the extra mile? Do you want to still believe when the lights are off and everything is gone? Do you still want to? And it's not even about the effort or anything. It's about just being open and saying yes. It's not about changing the world. It's not about going hard and pushing and trying so hard. It's about still being okay with the yes. Because maybe could mean yes. Though the transportation is not working, that person might still show up. But if I go on a date, I'll look stupid. Everybody would laugh at me when I'll be sitting at the table by myself and nobody shows up. And I'm so dressed up for the date. I don't want to do that. Can you see like how it's not the problem that we know deep down that it's meant for us, but we are scared to look stupid. But what I said to myself was, what if I still go all in? So even when it feels like it's not working, or I'm doing this and I did this thing and I didn't get the result, or I tried this and didn't work, what if I still say, maybe there is still, and maybe could mean yes. So I want to share with you the example of a person who has made history, and that person has gone, right? I don't know about other countries, but in UK, you cannot drive 1 mile, or probably even walk 1 mile without looking at his name. And what I'm talking about is Henry Ford. So I've done this experiment because I love playing with this. I drive and I give myself the challenge. If I see a Ford car, then like it's like a huge thing for me, because he's no more there and you see Fords everywhere, right? And there has never been a time in my life when I go out and I don't see a Ford. And that is a legacy of a person who was the walking, talking example of what I'm saying. So people used to call Henry Ford stupid, cold-blooded, ruthless. Look at the terms: cold-blooded, ruthless, stupid. Why? Because Henry Ford just knew that if he has something in his mind, it's going to manifest, and it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what anybody says. And people used to go and tell him like, are you stupid? Don't you have sense? What is wrong with you? And he would stay on his idea. So there was this model of Ford, which a lot of people told him it's ugly, it's so stupid, it doesn't even look nice, but he knew and he had this belief that this is the greatest thing, and he stick to it, and people thought he's out of his mind, and he made millions from this model. There was another example where he wanted to make this specific kind of engine for the cars. It was like 8 pumps. There's some specific thing, I don't know the technicalities, and his engineers told him it's not gonna work. And he said, if you want this job, you better do it. And the thing is that his engineers are the expert. He's not the expert in automobile. His engineers were the people, the real people on the shop floor in the factory. But he said to them, if you want this job, keep doing this. 6 months gone, nothing happened. And his engineers told him, see, we told you it's not gonna work. He said, I don't care, keep doing it. After 1 year, all of a sudden, that thing happened. Literally all of a sudden. And because of that, he has made millions and millions. Even now, Ford family is generationally so rich. The money that he's created, his generations over generations can easily live on that without even having to earn a penny. This is the power of this reframing skill. And this is literally a skill. It's about, are you really all in, or are you in until you don't look stupid? Because he was told stupid, ruthless, cold-blooded, right? So one thing that Napoleon Hill said, which is so beautiful, is that, when you're sitting in the cinema and the movie finishes, and all of a sudden they start turning the light one by one, and all of a sudden when you look around, it's bright. So from dark, like a dark movie, now it's bright after the movie finishes. That's how your manifestation comes. It's dark, and before you know it, boom, it's gonna come, and you wouldn't be even thinking about it. So what I realized was that if you continue to reframe and not let go of the golden thread, it's so powerful. You collapse time so much more. It's like, let's think of this way, that you are on the journey of manifestation, and you're getting ideas and things coming and things are happening, and all of a sudden something happened which, according to us, the meaning we give, not the reality, that's not a very pleasant situation. And we let go of the string. But behind that, there was next bridge of incidents and next bridge of incidents and next thing, and we just let go of the string. And it's now standing there waiting, hey, I want to come. It's my turn, I'm one of the pieces in your manifestation. I was about to come and you just let me go. Where shall I go now? So I experimented with this, not in my worst points, but in everyday life, right? Anytime anything would happen, which I thought was a delay, this was unfavorable, whatever, I said, what if I still hold the energy? And what if I could think of it as a string? And the way I did it was, we have got this incredible higher faculty along with imagination. It's called reasoning. You can reason your way. So you can say what this situation would mean. So if you're giving it the meaning that doesn't serve you, can you reframe it? Now, if it feels like, oh, this is crazy, this doesn't even make sense. So if I say this worst thing is actually the biggest enabler of my manifestation, it doesn't make logical sense. Yes, it doesn't make logical sense. What if you say, I'm gonna play with it? So that's how I started doing. I said, I'm gonna play with it because I don't mind looking stupid. I don't care. I rather have the life that I want than not look stupid. I don't care about looking stupid, right? Because people like Henry Ford, they built fortune over this, okay? So I said, what if I change the meaning? And I said to myself, this situation is the greatest thing that's ever happening to me. And you know what? Within a second of changing the meaning, I got the next idea. And I was like, woo! Had I not chosen that, I wouldn't have picked on that idea because I lost the frequency. So the moment I change it, it's like, the curtain moved and you can see the next level. And I was like, whoa, this is good. This is great. Then when the next unfavorable situation happened, I said, how can I reframe it? What would be the most ridiculous belief I can choose? I said, this is the greatest thing which will help me get so much closer to where I'm going. And then I saw the next idea. And that was actually helping me. So it wouldn't make sense, logical sense, until you choose it. So choose that and see what happens next. Now, choosing doesn't mean you need to believe that. Believing, I think this word believing is screwing up so many people, including me. Like, of course you have to believe in your manifestation. But what I realized with believing is that if you just playfully choose it and say, you know what, I want to see, I'm interested, I'm curious, you are on the frequency. You don't have to say, I have unwavering, unknowing belief. No, because when you are saying that, your energy, the way your body is vibrating, it's on that frequency. So let's think of the worst thing that ever happened to you in your life, worst thing, you absolutely hate. Something that you think, I wish that didn't happen to me. Something really bad. And what if we reframe that and say that the very worst thing is the greatest enabler to your success? So my worst thing was, I struggled with manifestation for so long and I was so frustrated. And if somebody wanted to say to me, live in the end, just feel the feeling, I wanted to literally throw up or just disappear from that situation. But that worst situation became my biggest power because I could feel it, that almost waking up that superhuman within me who were like, let's really help people see that. Because what I realized was the thing I was struggling with, other people are struggling too. So it's like I was screaming from the rooftop, guys, I found the solution. You don't have to just feel the feeling. You don't have to just think positive. I found it's your self-concept, it's your identity. And that pain became the power. Hadn't I gone through that, I wouldn't have learned. So anything that we think is a bad thing that happened to us, what if it actually happened? And it can be the biggest enabler. The other example I have was when I had my fourth child, my daughter. At that time, my business started really exploding and it was working really, really well. And then I found out I was pregnant and I was like, oh my God, now I can't do as well. It's not going to happen as well. And I still remember I used to think that, oh, I don't want to, it's such a blessing to have children. But how do I hold that belief and how will I do it? And then when she was born, we named her Faith. So her name's meaning is faith. And I actually decided that she is the one who's gonna every time tell me, faith it. So when I call her, because she's the youngest one, it's Faith. I'm constantly calling Faith. I'm dealing with Faith. Faith is all around me. So I gave it the meaning that she is going to be the biggest enabler of my success. And I'm going to have the greatest motherhood experience. And actually, this will also help her rise and grow. So she was born in this information. She was born in, like, it's like when she was not even on this planet, she could hear that. She could hear those words. She was meditating with me in my tummy, right? So, like, she's born in this material, and her name is Faith. And you know, one thing what happened was when she was born, I at that time I used to do live every single day. That was my thing. Like I really felt called to do live every single day. What I started doing was I used to just carry her. If you scroll really up, which will take a lot of time, and see my lives, I'm carrying like really small her. If I carry her now, she's gonna smash my laptop. So I'd rather not. But when I used to carry her, and people would see my life just because I was carrying a child. So that was like a greatest hook. People would say, "Who is she carrying? Who is this baby? The baby is so cute," and they would open my life because of that, and they would fall in love with the information. So she was actually the biggest enabler. So I would just carry her, and she was like a tiny, few weeks baby, and she was so cute. And she wouldn't even do anything because, you know, babies are too little. They're not touching anything. They're not breaking your laptop. And it was the greatest hook I could ever use. I didn't even know. Why? Because I chose to believe. I reframed the situation. So our biggest tool is reasoning, reframing. And you don't have to believe in reframing. You can just play with it and say, what if I just put it out there? Because this belief is not going to serve me. The belief that everything is going to finish, it's not going to work. This is slowing me down. Everything is so slow. I'm not this. It's not serving me. So what if I just reframe it and play with it? And the more you play with it, the more you realize every time, because your mind will start trusting you so much more, it will say, what do you want to believe here? What direction you want to take? And what I realized was that actually there is no such thing as it's taking long, it's slow, it's not working. It's all our meaning. We are giving meanings all the time. We give meaning to everything. This happened, so that will happen. This happened, and this will happen in my life. This person said this to me, so it's not going to work. I had this, and this person said this, it's not going to. What if we just not give those meanings? So now what I really want you to think, and I'm going to give you 1 minute to do that. Imagine if you constantly held the string and never gave any negative meaning to anything. Where would your life would have been right now? If you just held the frequency no matter what. If you want to write in the chat, if it's like, oh no, I don't want to talk about this. I just want to show you, like, the problem is not the situation. The problem is the meaning. The problem is the frame we put it in. This is bad. This is slow. This is not good enough. This is taking me away. This is that. No. What if I still hold the string? What if I reframe that? Yeah, when you reframe that, you might look stupid. But isn't it be better to be stupid and have the greatest life that you ever wanted? Isn't it be great to take a chance to look a little bit stupid, but create fortune like Henry Ford? And have your generations over generations. You can't drive 1 mile in London without seeing a Ford. And he's not even there anymore. Look at the legacy. His name is everywhere. This is the power of this tool, reframing. He reframed every single time. Now, in order to reframe it, there is a really powerful frequency. It would be crazy compounding of success. Exactly, Andrea. So what has been the problem all this long? Perception. What meaning you gave it. So the problem is the meaning. The problem was never the situation. And when you realize that, we just laugh and say, okay, I get it. I get it. It's the meaning that you give to the situation. It's the box that you're putting it in. That is the problem. Situation is never the problem. I don't have enough time. That's not. Let's reframe it. What if I don't even need enough time? So if I look back, the time that I think it took every single day, it took me like 1/10 of that. So what if we reframe it every time and we play with possibilities? And with all of that, the only problem is that you will not be 100% sure. So if your identity is, unless I have full guarantee I'm not going to do this, I'm sorry, that's not going to work. But why do you need full guarantee? Why you're taking life so seriously anyway? Why do you need 100% full guarantee for this to work? What if you are wrong? So what? But what if you're right? What if you're right? So it's about going all in. It's about going that extra mile and still do that. So I want to share with you one thing. I have no idea how, but my daughter, the oldest one, is a powerful manifester. She just blows me away. I think I need to learn from her. It's insane how she manifesting. So if she wants something, she would just fall in love with it so much, and she wouldn't care about the logic, the possibility, how, when. So yesterday we had to go, after the hospital, my brother-in-law had his engagement ceremony, and I told her, I can take you, but because we're in hospital, you will not have time to change clothes. I can take you for a little bit and we'll go there. And she was crying in the car that I really want to wear those clothes. And she was feeling really wanting those clothes. And when I told her, you know what, it's not possible, we won't have enough time to go home, we're just going from the hospital, I still could see like her, it's like she didn't give up internally. It's like some part of her was still looking like, what if there is a way? What if? And you know the craziest thing what happened? It wasn't a really nice venue. I stopped the car there. Oh my God, I love that. I love that. I think we need to learn from our children, by the way. They need to come here and teach. So we stopped the car somewhere outside the venue. Nobody was there. And we saw this beautiful clothes shop. Okay. And I was like, what if I just go in and see there is something that she would like? And she found the out of the world dress, which that kind of dress, she doesn't even have it at home. So even if we would have come home and changed, she found the most beautiful dress and she bought it, she wear it at the shop, and we went to the engagement. And it's like and the lady who was selling that was like, I was about to close the shop in 2 minutes. And the shop was coincidentally manifestation next to the restaurant. And it's like, what if you still keep that part on? It takes the same effort to be closed. In fact, it takes, when you are saying, you know what, it's not gonna work, I'm not doing this, it hurts. So what kind of pain are we avoiding by being open? When you are disappointed, when you're saying, I don't want to be disappointed, so I'm just gonna say it's not gonna work, I'm not gonna go on date. But when you don't go and show up on that date to test your match, it still hurts because you don't have a date. So the pain that we are trying to avoid, the disappointment that we are trying to avoid, is still, we are feeling it. So what are we trying to avoid? It's not going to work for me. So when you're thinking that, do you feel good about it? Does it make you so excited? No. Then what are we trying to avoid? What if we still say, you know what? I'm open to it. I don't see a way. I feel like it's not working. That happened. But what if it's all taking me there? What if I just stay open? I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go and break the mountains. I don't have to do anything. I just stay open. Because it takes the same effort to stay open versus stay closed. And when you stay open in those moments, the shop appears, the way appears, how appears, the thing appears like crazy. It doesn't make sense. Literally, the dress that she was wearing, everybody said to us, where did you get it from? Where did you buy this? It's so nice. Where did you guys get it? We were like, this is so funny. I can't even tell people it's next door, the shop. But although I told her, but she still had this part in her which was like, what if I can still find a way? What if we just hang on a little bit more and still hold the string? Yeah, you cannot see that. You cannot see. There was no way we would have found a dress. It's so late in the night, in the location we have never been before. We are going for just a little bit because we need to go back to the hospital. But it happened. But the key is, if you want guarantee, I want 100% assurance is going to happen, you will be so focused on it not happening that you'll miss the frequency. So the frequency is what if? What if you go on the date and that person doesn't show up? I look stupid. But you tried it, you tested it. That's a feedback that maybe there's a part of you which is still not fully behind it. Or maybe that's not even the right date. But what if we always go all in because we don't care about disappointment? Because the breakthrough here is it causes more disappointment when we don't even go and try, when we don't even go and test it. So if she would have said, oh, it's not going to work, let me just forget this, she was still disappointed. So the thing that we are trying to avoid, we are still feeling that. What are we trying to avoid? That's the problem. What are we trying to avoid? So what if you still see it? What if you still hold that energy? What if you still constantly hold that thread? And the beautiful part is, because I have been obsessed with the idea of belief, because in everywhere we are told you have to believe. But the problem is how? Like, show me how to believe. That was my biggest thing. How do we believe? Like, how am I supposed, do I go for a brain surgery to believe? Can somebody give me a magic wand to believe? And what I realize is you don't have to believe. Doesn't mean that that belief is not required. Belief comes naturally. And I have found something really powerful. If you keep talking about it, keep thinking about it, you will believe automatically. You can't help but believe. So the way it works is that without any attachment to when I'm gonna believe, when it's gonna happen, you keep normalizing that thing, you keep talking about it, you keep thinking about it, you just keep, it's like, let's say you're manifesting 50K months, 100K months, 30K months, 20, whatever you're manifesting, right? If you keep talking about it, I have this money and I'm doing this and I'm going there and I'm going to that place and I donated that and I bought this. If you keep talking about it, it's going to come. So do you have to believe? No. Will you believe automatically if you keep talking about it? Absolutely yes. That's the whole point. So if you keep talking about it, keep talking about it, keep talking about it, keep thinking about it. The money frequency that I'm manifesting, if I say to myself right now, do I believe that I can have that money? All of a sudden I go in that spiral and I'm thinking and I'm questioning. If you're questioning whether you believe, you don't believe. Because if you believe, you won't question. So the key is keep talking about it. Keep thinking, when I have that money and I'm spending it there and I'm doing that and I went for shopping, and when I have that money, first question is, how would you spend it? Which buckets will it go? Would you save this much? Would you spend this much? What are the things that you will absolutely do? What are the things that you would not do? How would your life change? The more you keep thinking about that, you will normalize that. It will become normal. It will become autopilot. It will become default. So what she did was she kept thinking about the dress. She kept thinking about dressing up. And I was getting annoyed. I was like, why can't she just let go? And I teach manifesting, just let go, it's fine. And she kept thinking about it. She's like, yeah, it'll be nice though. It'll be good if and she didn't even know, like, how would she predict, finding that shop and all of that. But she kept talking about it, kept talking, and the shop appeared. I was like, woo. And she does that with so many things all the time. It's like desire takes over the possibilities. But that won't happen when you focus on what is the feasibility, how it's going to work, what is the logic. What if you don't care? What if you just keep talking about it? If you want a certain kind of car, keep talking about that car to yourself, not from the place of I want that car, I want that, from the place of I have that car, and keep just talking about it. And just, the doors are like that, and this is how it works, and this is so good, and this is how it drives, and you see how fast this comes. So the fastest way to manifest something, the easiest way, is not do the gap analysis in your mind, is not to think, what is the feasibility? Looking at my outside, it feels impossible. None of that. It's just you keep talking about it. You keep thinking about it. You keep living that. You keep analyzing that. My outside is not telling me that. Who cares? Are you a statistician who is doing statistical analysis of your outside? No. The whole point is your logic and your outside is the past. We can't create from the past. So just keep talking. I have this, I'm doing this. In the present tense, you're just living that. You're living that without any attachment. without any gap analysis, without any judgment. And the moment you have any situation where you're like, is it really gonna work? I think the outside is saying that, reframe that. And even when you reframe that, don't force yourself to believe that. Just let it go. Reframe, I wanna see how it happens. I wanna see the magic. So would I know that because I will carry my few weeks old daughter in my lives, it will go viral? No, I didn't know that. I was actually thinking, would I be able to do it properly? What if she distracts me? And actually the opposite happened. People would be scrolling and they'd be like, who is this lady holding like a baby? What is she doing? Or like, what is she saying? So they would click on my live. And then sometimes she would make like funny faces as a baby. Sometimes she would try to move her neck. That was hook for people. Who could have thought that? So your logic will never be able to answer any of that. If you're trying to manifest with logic, you're going to create past. But logic is past. What is logic? You have seen a world in a certain way. Based on that, you have created assumption, and that is called logic. How can it tell you how it's going to happen? So doing this work, I want to give you guys the highest frequency of abundance to frame all of that. So when you play with this, if you put this frequency, which I'm going to share with you now, it will all work so beautifully and there'll be no resistance. So what I realized was that money, and there is a whole book on that, it's literally a 7-page book, but since I've read it, I constantly think about it. It's called Money is God in Action. Money is God in action. Okay? What I realize is that since we are born, we have given money so much association, so much negative meanings. We didn't even know money, but we had a relationship with money. Even when we were not born, we had a relationship with money. We had a generational relationship with money. And we still have a relationship with money. And what I realized was that what really is money, the relationship that serves us really. So there could be so many things. Some people can say, you should not be spending excessive. You should be doing this. You should be earning enough so you're comfortable. People have all sorts of relationships. What I realized was money is actually God or source, whatever word's better for you, in action. So let's say you go out of your house and all of a sudden you realize you don't have your water bottle and you feel thirsty. And you go and buy a water bottle. What is that? That is God in action. You were thirsty, you were given water. Whatever you want, it's given to you. Then you go ahead and you're like, I want to take a train ticket or an underground or whatever. Now there is money to pay for that. Then you pay your bill. You have money for that. So every time you're buying things, your child says something to you, get it for them. You buy yourself a coffee. It's every single time you're given that. It's like God is in action. It's giving it to you. Here you go. I want to go on a holiday. You book a trip. God in action. You got a trip. So the way we see money is not, oh my God, it's running out. I shouldn't be buying coffee. But you know what? I love coffee, so I'd rather just have coffee. No, we don't want to have that frequency. The frequency is, I wanted coffee. God in action. Thank you, God. I've got coffee. You just gave it to me. So it's like, little children, whenever somebody gives them a lollipop or a candy, they're so excited and we are laughing like, look how happy they are. That is the frequency. We have to learn from them. They got a lolly, they're so happy, they're jumping. They're not saying, oh, it's just £1, $1, €1. Oh, it's not a big deal. No, it's God in action. I got a lolly. So what if we feel excited like that child again about every single thing that we receive? You wanted coffee. So if you even think about your day today, the moment you wake up, if you went out, you paid for the transport, you put fuel in your car, maybe you bought a coffee, you paid the bill. Every time it was like receiving lolly. But now we are like, you know what? Life is hard and money is running out. So we have to be very careful when we spend. But the actual frequencies, it's God in action. So I get whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want. So somebody would say to me, oh my God, you bought a dress just for half an hour or a few hours for her to wear. But for me, it's God in action. Like she wanted a dress. I really wanted to get it for her. We got it. God in action. So it's like, it's like God is responding to you through money. God is giving it to you. You ask for coffee, you get coffee. It's like you're manifesting all those things all day long. It's a proof of your manifestation. It's not money running out. It's not you have less, or it's not that you should be spending very carefully. It's that frequency. And when you start to compound that frequency, you realize God is always in action and money is always in action, because it's a reflection. It's a reflection of your ask being given. So what if you feel excited for every little thing and every big thing the same way? Instead of feeling it like, I have to pay bills, because there is no other way. And electricity is getting so expensive. And actually the money in your bank account, you can pay twice that bill. Oh, it will be very hard, but you have it. But we focus on, you know what? I've just paid $200 or euros. Can you imagine? What if we say, it's God in action? My bill is paid. I get to enjoy electricity. So when I pay petrol, now I love it. My husband is always like, why do you always fill up? Can you just not fill up sometimes? I want to do that. He feels like he want to use his masculine. He want to, like, no, I love filling up petrol. It's like I'm getting a present from God. I want to fill petrol, and I want to go to my favorite station. So I only like Shell for some reason. I have no expertise in petrol, by the way, but I just like the vibe. Because I show them my card, they give me points. It's God in action. Then in the hospital, I go and get Costa. I love Costa. I'm just obsessed. Why I'm obsessed with these experiences? Because it's just God in action every time. So I love the idea of buying. I love the idea of receiving. I love the idea of spending. I love the idea of saving. It's all God in action. I want water, I get water. I get a dress, because God in action. It's every single thing is manifestation. It's not just your dream home, it's every single thing. And when you compound on that energy, you reframe it so fast, because God is always in action. You can have it every time. So the thing that you want, your dream home or whatever it is, and the coffee that you're getting are both on the same string. And you feel the same for both of them. You pull them so easily, so naturally. So what if every time we receive something from other people, from our own money, we say it's God in action. This is what it's for us. And we celebrate it and we feel it. We feel supported. We feel like, you know what? I'm going right now, but any problem, money is always there, because it's God in action. God will never leave me alone. Because if you tie receiving to clients, you are uncrowning your power and giving it to clients. I need to receive money from clients. Somebody needs to validate my receiving. If you tie money to your job, you are tying it to your job. If you tie money to God, there is no limit. And the experience is divine. The experience is like that child who gets candy and is jumping up and down without realizing it's just €1. Doesn't care. It's candy. I got it. This is God in action. So what if we jump up and down on everything? What if you celebrate your coffee? That's why I fell in love with Costa coffees now, because I celebrate coffees. It's not because of really Costa, but me celebrating coffees. And then when your frequency is so high, then believing is easy. Then reframing is easy. Then trusting money is easy. Then money comes easy. Then we compound more on that frequency. We jump up and down even more. And then we keep compounding it. And before we know it, we are like, I love money. So good. It's God in action. It's God telling me I'm with you. Don't worry. Wherever you go, even if you screw up, even if you speed a little bit, even if you get a parking ticket like me, not often, but once I parked in 2 bays and I got a parking ticket, right? And I was like, oh, so I parked just in 2 bays. It's not that I didn't pay. I paid for the parking, but I just parked in 2 bays instead of one. It was in the middle of both of them. And I was like, you know what? How can I reframe that? One thing is, look, money's leaving. I have to pay this parking. These people are so annoying. Government is taking our money. I could do that. Or the other frequencies, you know what? I'm so supported by money. I make silly mistakes and still money comes and supports me. Still, I don't get in trouble because I just pay for it. I have money. It's God in action. God came and saved me. It doesn't matter if you parked wrong. Who cares? That's not a big deal, because it's God in action. So whenever now you are spending or receiving, see it as God in action. The support that is coming. And when you realize that, you tap into the greatest frequency of money. You're not relying on other people. You're not relying on any how. It's God in action. And this is the highest frequency, because there is infinite. And all the negative connotations about money just drop off. Because how can God in action be wrong? And if the word source resonates more, you can use that. But it's about realizing that there is this power which is coming to your support every single time. And you can trust it. The more you start to celebrate it, the more you trust it.